Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And I gotta start with this from Smoke. We are not far from banks starting to handle and holding crypto assets on their balance sheets, now that Paul Atkins has been sworn in as the SEC chair. And this is documented. This shows you what the banks were waiting for. They figured Atkins is going to open up a lot of possibilities inside of the banking system as well. But the banks want this because they got to relate to a younger demographic now. Because the younger generation, they're using cash apps and other options outside of the traditional banking system. But if the banks started opening up crypto options, all of a sudden, you would have investors from all different age groups now going to the bank and buying crypto because they would show that crypto actually has value. You know, we've been in crypto for quite a long period of time, most of us. So crypto to us, it's still exciting. We know what crypto does. We know how big it's going to be in the very near future. But when the banks, for the very first time, can start talking about crypto, that's exciting to them. Remember the first time you talked about crypto? It was absolutely the most exciting time in your life because you found this great thing and you wanted to share it with everyone you knew. Now the banks are going to be acting the same way because they want to bring new customers into the bank. And the only way you're getting new customers with a new innovation, something different than what the banks have been offering for years. This also comes from Smoke. Yes, Coinbase XRP derivatives contracts will be available to institutional and retail investors. So retail can also take advantage of the XRP derivatives. And you know, there's some investors out there that will only enter the crypto space through an ETF or a derivative. They have to have some other option than just buying the cryptocurrency directly. You know, some people have to sit down and look at every aspect of a cryptocurrency before they buy it. Other people, they throw caution to the wind and they will buy it and then figure it out later. There's all types of investors in this space, but I think the derivatives will also be good for a certain demographic. This comes from Cointelegraph. Breaking. Coinbase confirms it's considering applying for a U.S. federal bank charter, a move that could let it offer traditional banking services like deposits and loans. Sounds like everybody wants to move in the same direction that Ripple has been going in for years. Honestly, I would never trust Coinbase as a bank. I would trust Ripple as a bank more than I would ever trust Coinbase. You know, the day that Coinbase delisted XRP, that was the day I was done with Coinbase. And, you know, I just don't like anything about Coinbase. I even trust Uphold more than I trust Coinbase. This comes from Eleanor Tourette. Paul Atkins was sworn into office today and has officially started his tenure as chairman of the SEC. It's nice to finally have him at the SEC. Remember, now that Paul Atkins has officially stepped into his role as the SEC chair, his agenda is packed. And at the top of the list, approving XRP ETFs. And yes, it is documented. Once he approves those ETFs, I think we're going to see the price of XRP change very quick. Look at what the Bitcoin ETFs did for Bitcoin. This is going to be so much bigger for XRP because there is way more demand for XRP than there is for Bitcoin. People looking for a better return on investment, they're going to turn away from Bitcoin at this point because what are you going to get out of it? maybe a 2x if you're lucky. With XRP, you could possibly get up to a 50x. I see people calling for a 50x in this run. And here's what Atkins said as he was being sworn in. I'm not going to play the full clip because he thanks everybody first, but take a listen to what he says at the end.
There are many who quietly serve the nation in mostly unsung roles, and I continue to be the beneficiary of your professionalism and good judgment. So at the helm of the SEC, I can confidently say it is a new day. It's time for the SEC to end its waywardness and return to its core mission that Congress set for it: investor protection, fair, orderly, and efficient markets, and capital formation. I will work to protect investors from fraud, keep politics out of how our securities laws and regulations are applied, and advance clear rules of the road that encourage investment in our economy to the benefit of Americans. A top priority of my chairmanship will be to provide a firm regulatory foundation for digital assets through a rational, coherent, and principled approach. We will work to ensure that the United States is the best and most secure place in the world to invest and to do business. So, Mr. President, again, thank you very much for your graciousness in extending such a warm welcome to my family and me today in this storied room. I look forward to working with you, with colleagues in your administration, and with Congress to advance your agenda to bolster the economy and build on U.S. leadership of the global market. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think Atkins is going to do a great job at the SEC. He wants to protect investors from fraud, though, and that's going to be an issue for Tether down the road. Also, he wants to make sure that there are clear rules of the road, which is what everybody in the crypto space has been looking for. That's what Ripple was fighting for from day one. All they wanted was regulatory clarity and a clear path forward. And I think with Atkins, they're finally going to get it. Expert says, hold 1,000 XRP until 2029 if you want financial freedom. Honestly, I'm going to tell you what I always tell you. I hate when people tell you to hold a specific amount of XRP. Buy whatever you can afford to lose. Sit back, stay patient, and wait for it to happen. Because it is absolutely going to happen long before 2029. This next run-up is going to be an epic run for XRP. I want you to be able to buy as much as you could afford to lose, though. I don't want you to be over-invested. This way, if say this run gets extended out and it continues upward, I want you to be able to sit there patiently watching XRP hit new all-time high after new all-time high without wanting to sell way too soon. But that's how you invest. You never overinvest in crypto. One thing you all most likely learned as a crypto investor, if you're new to crypto especially, is patience. And patience pays off in crypto. This comes from Smoke. RLUSD's integration with AAVE now expands Ripple's stablecoin exposure to 17 blockchain networks. RLUSD is gaining a lot of momentum, and it's going to continue to gain a lot of momentum because a lot of doors are going to be opened up to that stablecoin. I still think we are very early on RLUSD on where it goes from here, because I think it's eventually going to be announced as the US digital dollar. I still think that's on the table. But RLUSD stablecoin taps into DeFi through AAVE, and that's what it's all about. DeFi is the future. This comes from Hugo Filion from over at Flare. To enable a highly effective XRP-Fi DeFi ecosystem, there's one piece that needs to be put in place. That is a highly liquid and globally ubiquitous stablecoin. It needs to be able to be easily on and off ramped to and from Flare. Now, is he talking about RLUSD? Possibly. but I don't think RLUSD has gained enough momentum yet. In other words, it's not everywhere yet. It is absolutely spreading out like wildfire, that's for sure. And I think that might be what I think maybe Hugo's telling us, that you just got to stay patient a little while longer while RLUSD gains that global, how can I put it, notoriety, that global extension all around the world. Because they are also going to open up a lot of DeFi options on Flare for XRP as well. And stablecoin legislation in the United States is expected to be passed by Congress by July of this year. We expect to see multiple large financial institutions, banks, fintechs, and payment platforms rapidly launch and support stablecoins. It's going to be a stablecoin summer. And yes, it is documented. You know, stablecoins are a door opener. That's how I look at RLUSD. Sure, it's going to be running across the XRP ledger, and XRP is going to gain a lot of value off of RLUSD over time. But it's a door opener at a lot of places where XRP will be used later to complement RLUSD. And yes, stablecoin payments will be cheaper than credit card payments as well. And that's a game changer. And of course, it's documented. You know, whenever I talk about something, I have to have it be documented, because I want to bring you the facts on what we know up to this point. Credit card payments are at 2% right now, and over 2% in a lot of places. A stablecoin issuer can get that down to 1%. Now think about POS systems at stores. You know, there's a lot of fees with those POS systems. If those fees were to come down, all of a sudden, they would start accepting stablecoins. And that's why I see stablecoins as the future. And because they are the future, XRP is also the future. Because RLUSD will not only be moving RLUSD, it's going to be moving a lot of other stablecoins as well. Even a central bank digital currency is nothing more than a stablecoin. It's just issued by the central bank. So think about it like this. If you want to use, say, a bank stablecoin, like Bank of America coin, and you want to send that coin overseas to some other bank overseas, it could go in as Bank of America coin to XRP and come out as the euro. It could come out as any other currency overseas as well. That's what's game changing about XRP. And a lot of people don't realize that yet. You know, a lot of people say, well, if they're not using XRP only, it doesn't benefit XRP at all. But it actually does, because it gives more utility to XRP. And I wanted to clear that up, because now everybody's looking at Circle as the XRP killer. Listen, Circle does not have the rails like Ripple has all throughout the world. And USDC is not going to replace RLUSD. I still think RLUSD is going to be the most stable coin out there as we go forward. You got to remember, Ripple just fought out a major battle with the SEC. Everything Ripple does now going forward is going to be fully compliant, overly compliant. In other words, Ripple's going to make sure that everything is in place before they launch a stablecoin. I'm still waiting for RLEUR and so on, because that would change everything. That would show us everything we ever expected for XRP. If there was RLEUR and so on, imagine XRP in between all of these Ripple launch stablecoins, moving that value all day long. That's what I see coming for XRP. But like I always tell you, until it happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.